Hey, everybody, welcome this week. I am excited to have you on the call today. Working through a little technical stuff here. I've got a new laptop and I had to get some things installed on it, but really looking forward to spending some time talking about part two of creating powerful habits. And last week we discussed the importance of habits. We talked about how habits really can transform our entire identity about who we are and what we're all about and how powerful they can be in our life. And this week, I want to talk a little bit about some real life practical solutions that you can potentially use to install new habits or replace habits that are not serving you. So we're sitting here now at the beginning of March. We're 2/3 through our first 90-day quarter of 2021. And when we met at the end of last year, for those of you that went through the 90-day sprint call with me and the 90-day workshop, we identified a habit that we wanted to replace or change or create. And that was part of my 90-day routine. And I try to do that every quarter. If I can replace or improve or reinforce a habit or transform some other habits that aren't working for me, I feel like I've really done something that can impact my life in the long run. So I hope you're on track with that habit, with those targets that you set. And I hope you're on the course that you want to be on. And if not, you can always course correct and you can always start over again, right? And we're going to get ready to start doing and working on our Q2 90-day sprint here in 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm going to be hosting that event, and I hope you guys join in, and I hope you get committed to really doing this planning and this strategy 4 times a year. Make it a habit, and I think you'll really notice the benefits in your life. So when we talk about habits, there's this thing called the habit loop, right? And those of you that have ever liked someone like a Tony Robbins, he talks a lot about neuro-linguistics programming. These habits that we repeatedly practice are creating neural pathways in our brain, right? And they get to a place where they're pretty much unconscious, that we, get up in the morning, we do the same thing every morning, we brush our teeth the same way, we have our morning routine. A lot of it is unconscious, and we're just running through that tape or that script that we've created, which we call a habit. So there's typically a cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. Now, there's a couple different books out on habits. People kind of play around with these things, but that typically is the one that seems to make the most sense for me. And Jim Rohn said, success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day, while failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day, which is true. So what we want to try to do is create some discipline in our life, and we create that discipline through these habits that we create. So there's cue, craving, response, and reward. Your habits, habits are not inherently good or bad. We can give them a meaning of being good or bad, but typically everything that we're doing in our lives, every way that we're behaving, we're trying to solve a problem for ourselves, right? Now, the problem we're trying to solve, if I'm craving sugar, I'm trying to solve that problem. That may not be a benefit for me, right? But there's typically 4 steps: that the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. So you can break them into 2. You have the cue and the craving. So when you realize something needs to change, this could be good or bad, but let's just say that I smell a donut. I'm walking down the street. It hits my olfactory system and it smells great, and I start to crave a donut, right? It triggers a response in my brain because I've had a past experience with donuts and I know I like them and I know they taste good. The second phase, that's my problem. The second phase is the solution that I'm trying to come up with to this problem that I have of wanting a donut. So when you take action and you achieve change, right? So you crave the donut, you smell it, you crave it. Now I'm going to take action. I'm at the donut store, right? That's probably where I smelled it from. So my response is that I go in and purchase a donut. And the reward is that I eat the donut and I taste the donut and I enjoy the donut, right? Now, if that happens enough, I can start to create a habit every day of buying that donut on my way to work. So I have a neuro pathway that I associate a donut to walking to the office in the morning. And before you know it, I've got a negative habit, right? So it's all driven to solve a problem. Sometimes it's something good and we want to obtain it. And other times it's a problem where we're experiencing some type of pain and you want to relieve it. But either way, these habits are really designed to solve problems. And if you look at them that way, they're not that scary or they're not that bad. They're just trying to solve a problem that you have created. So let's take a look at some advice and some steps that you can use to create good habits and also breaking bad habits. So James Clear, which I love his book, Atomic Habits. If you haven't read it, I would highly recommend it. But he says the secret of getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. Small habits don't add up, they compound. So they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they grow faster and faster and faster. We get a real compounded effect in your life. Very, very important concept. Tony Robbins had something called KANI, constant and never ending improvement, which is kind of a play on the Japanese concept that Edward Deming, I believe, created about constant improving of during the manufacturing process and creating things of constantly improving just a little bit. But before you know it, those results compound and they show up in your life, especially when you're working on personal habits and things around your body, nutrition, spiritual health, and your business. So, creating a good habit, Q1, good habit, make it obvious. The craving, make it attractive. The response, make it easy. The reward, make it satisfying. So, if I'm going to create a good habit, these are the things I want to do. And I'll give you an example here in a moment. Breaking a bad habit, the first cue, make it invisible. If I know I'm going, in my family, I have a lot of sweet eaters, my wife and daughters, and if I'm walking around, I'm seeing the sweets, I will tend to pick it up, even unconsciously, and eat it. So it's better if I remove those sweets from my sight or I put them somewhere where I don't have to be tempted by them all the time. The second thing is to make that habit unattractive, make it difficult, and make it unsatisfying. So there's ways to create a good habit and ways to break or transform a bad habit. Let's look at a habit like daily meditation. So if I wanted to create a habit of daily meditation, I might want to create and design my environment, right? I could put my cushion right out by my bed or wherever you're meditating, or a candle or incense, or just a place where you want to go and meditate. So you're going to make it obvious that this is what has to happen when I get up in the morning. Make it attractive. Look at the research and the benefits, the stress relief, all the things that meditation, the results can help you in your life in dealing with the stresses of the world. Make it easy. You just start with a mini habit, right? A micro commitment, 2 to 3 minutes, 1 minute, a mini habit. Once you have that mini habit or micro commitment, you can grow it from there. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Same thing when you do push-ups, one push-up, 2, 3, 4, 5. Before you know it, you're doing 20, 30, 40 push-ups at a time. And the last one is to make it satisfying. So you want to reward yourself, and that could look at a lot of different ways for you. You might tick it off a to-do list. You might have a habit tracker where you get the little ding when you complete your meditation, or something that makes it satisfying for you. So that's how I might create a habit of daily meditation. If I have a bad habit, and for me, I use one that I deal with, it's called snacking before bed, right? So I don't want to eat after 7 o'clock at night. I want to have an eating window typically, especially if I'm intermittent fasting, where I do not snack. And once I eat that first snack, I don't know if you experience this, but I start to grab and reach for other snacks. So the first thing would be make it invisible. So don't keep that junk food in the house. Remove it if you can. If you're in a situation where others are eating it and they won't remove it, then you need to make it invisible, right? Make it hard to get to. Make it unattractive. So reframe your thinking, think it through, and think about the cost of partaking in this habit? What's going to be the damage that causes in your lack of power, your energy, sluggishness? For me, sluggishness on the tennis court. How will that affect me if I'm 5 or 10 pounds heavier when I'm playing tennis or I'm working out or participating in my sport? Make it difficult. Tell my family I'm committed to doing this. I'm going to make a public announcement that I'm not going to eat after 7 o'clock, and I'm going to get rid of it from my life. So I've got the accountability in place and to make it unsatisfying. So reframe again. I want to attach pain to the behavior, to the eating, and the ultimate result, right? So what's going to happen if I follow this through and think it through, and how's it going to be unsatisfying? So those are some tips that you can take that you might want to utilize if you're trying to replace, create good habits, or transform bad habits. Because these habits, when you create good ones in your life, it's not that you're a robot, but it frees up a space for you, right, to be creative, and it frees up a space for you to think out of the box. When you've got these good habits that you're producing from and you're gaining fruit from every single day, it gives you the opportunity to really grow and expand and be more uh, of yourself and who you want to become. So let's create a new habit. So you either want to create a new one or you want to replace a bad habit, and ask yourself those questions. If you have a habit in mind, can I make it obvious? How can I make it attractive? How can I make it easy? And how can I make it satisfying, right? So think through that. It might be walking, running every day, exercising every day, but come up and start to work on that habit. Current research shows it's 66 days to create a new habit. We talked about that last week or the week before. So you really want to stick with this thing long enough so you can cement it and really make sure that it's been ingrained and you've created those new neuro pathways. So if you haven't read the book, Discipline Equals Freedom, it's a great book by Jocko Willink. Really, really good stuff. And he takes a different spin and perspective on discipline, right? By having a deeply disciplined commitment to results in your life, it creates more freedom in your life. So it's not that you're a slave anymore to food or those bad habits, it's that you're free to make those choices. So if you're wanting to do any other research on this, I'd recommend certainly Atomic Habits, James Clear, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg, Mini Habits, Stephen Geiss, and of course, the granddaddy of them all, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's still a great book, still a lot of great content in that book. So what I would do is sit down, pick a new habit. If you're in the middle of your 90-day challenge and you're working on it, then create or come up with some ideas for what you want to create in your next 90-day sprint period, and set up some tracking and accountability and put it on your weekly planning sheet. So when you're looking at your week on Sunday, you also have that area of the habit you're trying to create or replace, and make sure you keep yourself accountable and you stay committed. Habits are powerful, powerful things. If you use them to your benefit, you're going to be intentionally creating, consciously creating, and bringing into your life the things that you want to bring into your life. But if you just respond to habits on default and you're subconsciously running these habits, running these stories and tapes, you're not going to gain the benefit, and it's going to continue to drag you down. So have a great week. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Post in the group if you have any questions, and I look forward to talking to you next time. And I've got some exciting topics. I've got some interviews lined up as well that we'll get out in the month of March. So I hope you have a great week. Talk to you soon.